Hi, I'm Luciane Piccolo, a research scientist in the Department of Pediatrics at NYU Grossman School of Medicine, and I'll present our study in Brazil. Globally, more than 50% of children are living in poverty and are at increased risk for adverse early development and long-term education, health, and well-being outcomes. Extensive research indicates that parent-child reading promotes early childhood development and school readiness, particularly for children growing up in poverty. A previous study of a reading aloud intervention in Brazil called Universidade do Bebê or UBB demonstrated impacts on parenting and child outcomes for families with children 24 to 48 months, even for parents with low literacy. We sought to extend this work by adapting the UBB model for pregnancy and early infancy. And here we examine first, impacts of UBB on parenting and child development, second, variation in impacts on parenting and child development by parent literacy level, and third, indirect impacts on child development through cognitive stimulation in the home. We performed an RCT of UBB in Arco Verde, a city in northeastern Brazil with a high poverty rate. Pregnant women and families with children up to 24 months were enrolled and evaluated at baseline and following the delivery of the program. UBB consisted of monthly parent workshops focused on reading aloud and a book lending library. We assessed cognitive stimulation, parent beliefs about early reading, discipline, and screen time. We also measured early childhood development and vocabulary and parent literacy. 400 families were randomized. 60% of them started intervention at pregnancy. Overall, this is a very low-income sample, with approximately 35% of the families with maternal depression. There were no differences between randomization groups at baseline and those analyzed. Out of 7 workshops delivered, families participated in a median of 5. The intervention was interrupted due to COVID-19. Families borrowed a median of 36 books. In these graphs, as an example of direct effects, UBB families, here presented in red, showed higher cognitive stimulation in the home, especially in the context of reading activities, with medium to large effect sizes for both families that started the program in pregnancy and early infancy. There were no direct effects on child outcomes for the overall sample. However, for M2, we observed increase of vocabulary for families with low literacy only, with effect size 0.47, and reduction of screen time with effect size minus 0.51, and there was no variation in impacts of UBB by literacy level for other variables. Finally, for M3, we found indirect effects of UBB on child outcomes through cognitive stimulation in the home, with standardized coefficients ranging from 0.41 to 0.58. In summary, this study showed that, first, a reading aloud intervention provided beginning in pregnancy and early infancy resulted in large enhancements in parenting outcomes, even for parents with low literacy. Second, UBB was associated with reduced screen time and increased vocabulary for families with low parent literacy only. And third, although we found direct effects on child outcomes only for low literacy families, we found significant indirect effects on child development through cognitive stimulation in the home. Limitations include, first, interruption of the intervention due to the COVID-19 pandemic may have limited our capacity to find direct effects of UBB on child development. And second, use of parent survey as the main outcome. Our findings indicate that interventions to support reading aloud should take place globally, begin in early infancy and even during pregnancy, and include parents with low literacy. I'd like to thank our team at NYU Grossman School of Medicine, Instituto Alfabeto, and eDados, and thank you for listening.